everyone, and welcome to MCLE This Week. I am your host, Bruce Richard. I'm a program attorney here at MCLE. Today's topic is client experience as a growth strategy, turning every client interaction into a referral and reputation builder. I am blessed to have Chris Early here as my guest for this particular podcast. Chris, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your practice and what led you to focus on personal injury law?
Oh, Bruce, I appreciate it. I always love talking with you and sharing what little I know with the MCLE community in hopes to, help my fellow attorneys, right? Because I think that's the whole point of practice is to help each other out amongst the
Right.
bar, always get better. So I care about that. I'm passionate. I'm really passionate about client service, which we're going to get into. So again, my name is Chris Early. I'm a personal injury lawyer in Boston, and I love being an attorney. I love being a business owner and I love to connect with clients because I think that's the magic sauce of a happy and productive practice. So happy to chop it up with you. Excited to get into this with you and hopefully get some value.
Right. So, Chris, tell me a little bit about your practice.
Yeah, so it's a personal injury practice. We have two offices in Boston, Hingham. And I'll be honest, Bruce, for I'd say I've been at this for about 20 years as an attorney running my own practice out of law school. I'd say for the first like 15 years, I was clueless and not sensitive enough about how important it is with, that we're servants, like we're here to serve people. And that was lost on me. I was kind of arrogant, like, I'm an attorney, people need me. Like, no, I need my clients, or else my wife and I, we don't pay our bills here. My kids don't eat, and bad things happen. You don't serve your clients well. Conversely, when you serve your clients well, things really go up. So I'd say, Bruce, since the pandemic, I started retool my practice, scale my firm, and really got obsessed with client service. Really, really focused because my life has actually gotten better. I have less stress with clients. I have less, issues because clients, to our best of my ability, I believe, feel seen and heard. Now I don't have this figured out, right? There's a lot that goes on with this, but I'm, simply, an attorney who's determined to give the best service that I can. And it's not just me, I have a lot of people in the boat rowing along with me to help
Right.
clients feel that love. I think it's really important.
So, what was it about COVID that made this switch? Was it just that just happened to be the timing for it, or?
Yeah. So I was resetting as we all were, right? The pandemic hit and I sort of got bullish on growing my firm when I sort of probably should have pulled back. A lot of firms, they cut their advertising, they cut personnel. I sort of went all in and decided to grow my practice a little bit
Right.
oddly, but that's how I decided to do it. So I leaned in to an opening in the market. People weren't outside, there were no car accidents, there were no premises liability accidents. That's good for society, but it was troublesome because that's all I've ever done for my
Right.
career, to earn a paycheck. And so just started to scale the practice. But the common thing I learned among the countless podcasts, the countless books that I consumed about running a better practice, the common thread was client service, right? And I just sort of was like a caveman who figured out. I discovered fire, like, oh my God, like obviously, Chris, you should have realized this earlier. So just focusing on that. This is all relationships. A personal injury lawyer. I don't think the size of the check that I hand the client matters as much as how are they treated, how do they feel, and we'll get into that, right? During this
Sure.
call.
Yeah.
But I just think that like it's low hanging fruit, and most of the stuff we're going to talk about, I'm sure, it's basically free. It's just about really showing that love to your clients. There's only so many ways we can do that. There's just so much we can do 8 hours a day to do that. But I think it's a great opportunity for us lawyers to always be leaning more and more into how do we get more and more obsessed with client service and making clients super happy.
So, what does client experience mean for you, like in the context of the legal world and specifically, I guess, with your practice?
Well, I'm gonna say that I think with confidence, I don't think most people want to call us because something bad happened. There was, an arrest, an injury, and immigration challenges, something precipitated. There was a precipitating event that led to the phone call. They don't want to call us. So I think making them feel that love or helping them to feel loved is starts at intake when they first call us. I think that's where the representation starts at intake. Before they even sign a fee agreement, before we are formally their attorney, it starts at intake. So I'm completely dialed in on intake and making sure clients feel good. If they feel good, they're going to sign up with my firm. Because at the end of the day, I could care about client service, but I don't get clients in the door. This is all for nothing, right?
Hmm.
So, that's how we do it. It starts at intake and it never ends. I'm happy to get into what we do, sort of, table stakes that I think any practitioner can take away from this call. I can share practical things that we do. But, if Bruce signs up as a client today, I don't look at this as like, all right, we're going to settle this case and then Bruce, we're going to part ways. No, I want Bruce to be a raving fan. Like, I want you to be in my ecosystem forever and to tell everyone, hey, Early's a decent guy. You should call him if you need help. So happy to talk about during representation as well as post representation. But yeah, we do focus the lion's share of our efforts on making sure Bruce feels that love I keep talking about, right? From intake
Right.
until yeah, hopefully, we're able to put a check in his hand. But how does he feel throughout that process? I'm happy to chat about things that we do to make the client feel good throughout.
Yeah. So, what is it? Many attorneys put their focus on results, but I know for you, the experience is also a key. So, what are the biggest moments and interactions that shape how clients remember their attorney?
Okay, so they say it's hard to make a second impression, right? So that first impression is crucial and
Right.
stick. So again, intake. Before let's even go back, let's really dive into it. How are the phones answered? Is it like law office, which is cold and off-putting, or is it like,
Yep.
good morning, welcome to Early Law Group. This is Gwen. How may I best help you? The caller is like, oh, didn't expect this from a law office. Yeah, I had an accident or whatever they call it. It's like they're disarmed because I think
Right.
they're oftentimes, Bruce, they're defensive. They call it a lawyer. The lawyers have to screw them over. So how do we undo that perception as quickly as possible? By showing them care on the phone, empathy. I'm so sorry you had an accident. And then it becomes easier to demonstrate that we're the right firm because we have social proof online. We have almost 1,000 reviews. We know how to talk to clients on the phone. So once we get them in the door, we got them, and we can really demonstrate and reinforce that they made the right decision. Early Law Group is the right firm for them. But I'm a big believer, Bruce, that first exchange, because oftentimes hiring an attorney is a big financial transaction. Either you pay hourly, contingent, however you pay, it's going to get expensive more times than not because these are,
Right.
challenging problems for the most part. And so buyer's regret can set in. Bruce signs up today. Bruce, everything, a few days later, is Early the right guy for me? I see all these advertisements. My cousin Bobby's telling me to go with Joe Smith, Esquire. Like, did I make the right call? So I'm really trying to focus on making you feel like you made the right call. So what we
Right.
do is we do intake, we get you signed up. You instantly have an invitation to sign up in our client portal. Okay. The portal gives you access to everything you need about your case. But this
Right.
is what I really geek out and I get juiced up about. I send you a box in the mail. This is from a third party company. You're gonna get
Okay.
a box. It costs us like $50, but it's worth 50,000. It's such a good box. It's got merchandise, it's got a blanket, it's got my book, my memoir, because I want them to read about me and who I am. And I'm not just an ambulance chaser. I'm here getting on your level. I'm just like you. I have challenges and struggles just like you. I'm here to help you. My team is here to serve you. So that shows up different. What big lesson I want to teach the younger lawyers or mid-career older lawyers is is to get on the client's level. Again, we have to assume that they're intimidated. We have to really meet our clients where they are. So I'm a big believer in like showing them I'm a human just like you. I got problems, challenges. It's like here's my book, and even if you don't have a book, create and devise a system so that they're reminded every step of the way that they made the right call. But Bruce, I'm super sensitive to that beginning part of the representation because that's where it's won or lost. If it's won, let's not screw it up. Let's like build on that and make them feel good and cared for and loved. If you screw that up at the start, if your phones are a hot mess, if your sales process is clunky, the client feels not very confident. And it's hard to turn that around, I found. So let's try our best to get it as good as we can at the front side, the front end, and then build upon that throughout the case.
Right. So you highlight responsiveness on your website, noting that you strive to respond within the hour and that the client can expect a call within 24 hours. So what internal process or team culture did you put into place to make that kind of standard realistic?
It's been tough, Bruce, like super tough. We have non-negotiables that refer me, five, six non-negotiables. Client communication is one of them. If you're going to work here, you have got to communicate with clients. If you don't, it's not going to be a good fit. This isn't going to work out between us. So I
Right.
hammer away client communication, client communication. So here, I want to share a couple of things I think could
Yeah.
help the listeners. I talked about the portal. This is we haven't really spent a lot of money yet. A client portal is pretty inexpensive to implement. It's well worth it. So the client has access to the file and what's happening, but in the portal we send you surveys, right? So Bruce, you just sign up, be a client
Sure.
hypothetically. A week ago, you're going to get your first survey, I think 7 days in, right? And I'm going to
Hmm.
survey you and ask you, how are you? What I care most about is how do you feel? And I don't want to like harass you, with 25 questions, but like, how do you generally feel? Are we doing good by you so far? And that's a way to check the temperature of the client, 7 days out from the intake being signed. And then what I recently started doing, which I'm really excited about, I stole this from another lawyer who's in New York. Not only do I survey and I ask you to grade on a scale 1 to 10, how's the how do you are we showing you love, care, and concern? You know, I like numeric, I like to be graded. I like to step on the scale and see how are we doing. And then one little thing that I think has been massive is I ask you rate our communication from scale 1 to 10 so far. And you'll get the survey, I think it's 7, 14, 30 days. And then the surveys kind of taper away, taper less and
Hmm.
less. But I really want to demonstrate to you, Bruce, as my hypothetical client, I care how you feel and I need you to help me get better. How is our communication? If I see eights and nines, if you give me a five, I got to call you and figure out, where do we drop the ball? How can we get you to feel better about our communication? But that's a long-winded way of saying like you have to ask questions amongst your client. You can't assume that they're happy. Unhappy clients generally don't say anything, but they tell everyone else how bad you are.
Right.
Right. And that's a problem. We have to get ahead of that and make sure they feel good as best as we can. Look, I bend over backwards, my team does, and my team's amazing. Sometimes we can't satisfy every client, and I'm okay with that. We're going to do our best to do our best in that arena.
Advance your practice with the MCLE Online Pass. For one monthly subscription fee, you can access everything MCLE has online: live and on demand webcasts, ebooks, forms, checklists, and more. Start your free trial today at mcle.org/onlinepass.
Right. So what are some common pain points in the attorney-client relationship that firms often overlook, but clients don't seem to ever forget?
I think frequency of communication or lack of
Yeah.
frequency, right? It's like I haven't heard from you in 4 months. What's going on? Sometimes we don't have new updates to share, but that's why I'd love to like supplement communication. So our team is required to do the phone calls, to call you back, to give you 30-day updates, respond to your emails. This stuff is super easy to do. But if you don't do it, you're going to get bar complaints. You're going to lose clients. You're going to get terrible Google reviews. I think this is just like either done, it can be prioritized or neglected, but I think you have to pay the price if you neglect this stuff. Um, I like my goal, Bruce, is over communication. I want you as my hypothetical client to say, "Hey, early, I'm good. Let's scale back to communication," because then I know we're on to something. But until you say that, I don't know that you feel it. Maybe you're not even happy enough. Maybe you're going to give me a five on that score, but I'm working my ass off to make you, happy and feel like love, care, concern. I can't make everyone happy, and I'm okay with that. But we're going to do our best. But I want to meet you halfway and understand, like, get on your level, right? As my kind, like, how can we
Sure.
get better? Because I think we're in the relationship business. The communication is part and parcel of a good relationship. Um, and this is all basically free stuff we're talking about.
Right. So for lawyers who think to themselves, I'm too busy to worry about the client experience, what's your argument for why they really can't afford to be ignoring this?
Like we said, bar complaints, Google reviews, not you won't get referrals. Like your life will suck because your clients think you suck, right? I mean, that's not good, right? We have to make them feel good. Um, I think a lot of us get busy, but now, today, Bruce, with technology, these portals, with AI, there's so many ways to create a practice which gets ahead of these issues. right? So clients are getting fed information. There's automations, as we know, there's
Hmm.
CRMs, like you could drip. I drip so much stuff. I drip emails, we drip texts all the time to the clients. And then we layer in the phone calls, right?
Right.
The phone, I think, is the most important element of an office after the people that inhabit the office and do the work product for the clients, the telephone. We talked earlier, how is it answered? How, is the paralegal talking to the client, but like typing, like annoyed at what's happening, annoyed at the caller, or is the caller being showed that I care about you? I think a lot of lawyers, um, and I'm working on this myself as I am, with all this stuff. I don't have it figured out, like I said. I think the telephone is the best way to grow practice in terms of showing them care and concern the clients, um, listening to them, right? Taking notes. Like we record our case management software. Oh, Bruce, I'm just throwing stuff out. Bruce is a football fan. Because I'll forget that. I'll bring up, hey, did you watch the Pats game on Sunday? Stuff like that. Like,
Right.
oh, Early's listening to me. I'm not just some, I'm not just some random paperless, I'm not just some random person. I'm actually, somebody cares about. That's what really we're all talking about here, you and I. It's just showing them that care.
Well, I mean, you know, on a slightly different note, Capital Grille knows my wife's preferred drink.
Love it. Love it.
I mean, you know,
Smart.
they wrote it down. She's there often enough. When she makes her reservation, the waiter comes to the table, asks who wants drinks, and says to my wife, "Do you want your, do you?" And
Great.
he lists the drink, and I'm like, it's, I appreciate these are lawyers. This is not a restaurant, but having that background, having that, it
Love
is.
that.
I mean, the client experience doesn't have to be having a fancy coffee machine at the office so that a
No.
client who appears at the office can get a nice. That's just not it. I mean, it's so much more about your regular interactions with them and whether or not you have a regular interaction. So it's yeah, it plays a big part that way.
So I love what you just said because I literally analogize my firm to a restaurant. I talk about it all the
Yeah.
time. We're running a restaurant. Early's outside waving customers in, right? You see at the table, we have wait staff, we're case managers, we have attorneys who are kind of the
Yep.
chefs in the kitchen. But you're right. I speak that language. This is a restaurant. I bet that made you feel good and you smiled when you heard that. Your wife, I'm sure, felt like a rock star, like this really swanky place from
Yeah.
remembers me, values me.
Yeah.
She's you and she are going to tell everyone you know about how great Capital Grill is. I just want to give one quick book recommendation. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. It's a
Okay.
book that's been exploding. I don't know. Are you familiar with it or no?
I've heard the title, but I don't know anything
It's
about it.
really good. It's just quickly. It's about a restaurateur in New York City. He started this. Or he took over a restaurant. I think it's 11 Madison Park. Anyway, some restaurant, competitive, high level industry. He got this restaurant to be like the number one rated restaurant in the entire world because they were unreasonably hospitable to their guests, like just
Right.
insane levels. And we, as lawyers, we don't have to do that. They would just stand their head. And I think attorneys can do it. We don't need to. That's a really good book, Unreasonable Hospitality. I'm sure a lot of listeners have
Yeah.
read it or heard of it. I encourage you. My wife, who's not a lawyer, she read it. We geeked out on it. We love that book. I think we have to get out of like the mindset of like we're law firms to like, no, we're more of a restaurant, we're a service provider.
Right.
Because Bruce, I've heard a lot of times we as law firms and lawyers are not compared to other law firms. More and more we're being compared to Amazon, to the service providers who our clients interact with every day. With Jeff Bezos, like I don't need to call him and say, hey Jeff, where's my package? Like Jeff sends me my Amazon package when he says he's going to. I don't need to follow up. And so that's a level of service that I expect from Amazon. So how can you kind of Amazon your law firm where it's such a high level of service, of high level production and ease for the client? Basically, easy to spend money, easy to refer people to you because you're so good at what you do. I think
Right.
that's one thing that's I found helpful is I'm not competing with other PI firms. I'm competing with other service providers that my clients deal with every day.
Right. And I will say, on the other hand, just so folks know, while Capital Grille may know my wife's order, Five Guys knows me.
Oh,
I walk in and they
nice.
say hello, Bruce, which I'll be fair, is maybe not all that alluring. The idea that I go there often enough that they know my name, but it's there, and it's just yeah. So,
Same feeling. Same feeling. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
so how does technology? Now you've already mentioned client portals, how automation, even the simple email habits, play into creating a smoother, more trusted client experience.
Well, I would think they expect it, right, Bruce? Because when I buy
Yeah,
something from Amazon, I can look at my app. I don't have to call 1-800 Amazon and ask where's my package. Like I can go on the app and it's so freaking easy.
right,
And as I said, what do I keep doing? My wife and I keep giving Jeff Bezos money because it's so freaking easy to do because he always delivers what he's supposed to deliver.
right.
So how can you, we're in uh we're right November
Yeah,
2025. So how can we leverage technology? This isn't expensive. As far as I see, Bruce, this is a race. These tech companies want lawyer dollars, and they are these AI products are getting cheaper and cheaper, more accessible. It's a wonderful time to be practicing law because there's so many opportunities to leverage technology. The practitioner who isn't leaning into technology and leveraging it is losing every minute massively because things are happening. Your clients expect you to be tech savvy, tech forward.
right.
You don't have to like figure it out yourself, but hire someone who can figure it out for you so you are on par with what today's legal consumers expect of you.
Well, and honestly, if you've got the client portal and you've got a
Yeah,
level of automation, it also
yeah,
means your client is getting an interaction with your firm and you didn't have to do anything.
100%.
I mean, that's one of the big issues is, trying to give that client experience and that client interaction can often mean your time, you know, even if you're reaching out just to say, there's been no changes on your file yet. But uh, that sort of thing can get demanding on your time with the portals, with the automation aspect. Suddenly you're not having to, that's not turning into, 15 minutes of your day. That's turning into they had an interaction, the portal ran smoothly, they learned what they needed to learn, and it took no time on your part. So there's a there's a benefit to automation that the client feels like they've got an interaction and they didn't. Like you
Well
said,
said. Totally.
it's just with Amazon. I mean, the best interaction with Amazon, no interaction with Amazon that
Yes.
involves a person is a good
Yeah.
interaction because it means something has gone wrong.
Yes. Yeah. You're so
Either
right.
you're not happy or their system is not working properly.
Something
But
broke. You're
yeah,
spot on.
something broke.
You're spot
But
on.
yeah. Um, so if a listener wants to start improving their client experience tomorrow, what's one low cost, high impact change that they can make right now?
I would say how we talk with our clients, right? That's completely free. Just literally how we talk, how we listen, how we take notes, what Bruce likes if at the
Mhm.
burger place, like that's important. Like that's free of charge, right? Like writing that
Right.
stuff down. And so we build on it. This wasn't, again, I'm a student. This is going to take me forever to figure out, but I'm on the road, right? So I think we have to really be intentional about how we talk with our clients, how we communicate, how we make them feel. I just want to also share one thing that's been helpful for me as an owner of a firm that's growing, and it's brutal honesty. That's one of our core values. So yeah, we're talking about showing love to clients. Part of that is being brutally honest, and that's part and parcel of good communication. Sometimes we have to deliver bad news, right, to our clients. Whatever it is, be brutally honest. If a case turns out not to be a case, be brutally honest. It'll get ahead of so many problems. Clients don't mind taking their medicine, but you have to give it to them and be so brutally honest. One other thing I want to add, if you have anyone working along with you on your team, this makes the experience happier for your team members because
Hmm.
they're not hearing from aggravated clients who are pissed and calling the BBO, hey, my lawyers aren't coming
Right.
back. It's a better place to work when we elevate the client experience because we have happier clients. It's funner to work in the restaurant when the customers are happy, they're being served, and you know
Right.
people are in a good mood and enjoying the environment together. All ships rise.
Yeah. That's, that sounds great. And just to sort of comment on that, when you joined our Zoom call here, uh, the read AI notice came up. The benefit to having somebody else do up a transcript means how many notes do you actually need to write? You
Right.
are focused 100% on the client. It
Well
doesn't
said.
you
Yeah.
don't need to worry about the rest of it. You'll get your transcript or the summary of the transcript that AI sends that you're going to get sent. And it just that's just one easy way to make things run so smoothly. And it's seamless. It doesn't, for the client, it doesn't do, there's no disruption to how they're interacting. It's a beautiful thing. It's just one more way to make things easier and better for everybody in the office to
And
sort
how
of
do we
run
keep
that.
doing that? How do we layer onto that more and more? How do we intentionally always like put that stuff on what we're doing, right? Just
Right.
you can't. They say you can't eat the elephant one bite. We can't make raving fans in one day. This is a process of iteration, always getting better. How can I make Bruce feel a little bit better? How can I show him we care? It's never ending,
Hmm.
and it's super hard. Like this stuff is hard. You know, sometimes we get a bad Google review. I got a bad Google review recently, and I called a client and I'm going to reference this again, getting on the client's level,
Hmm.
explaining, he mentioned challenges that I resonate with as a human being as well.
Hmm.
So we connected. 5 minutes later, he took that review off and he gave us 5 stars, right?
Yeah.
So don't be scared about bad reviews. You can't, you're again, the restaurant's open for business. Anyone can come in anytime to work with the business. You're going to get bad reviews. Be brutally honest, give clients honesty, over communicate, but you're always going to get a fallible client who isn't appeased. Listen to them, but don't be scared about negative reviews. It's part and parcel. It's common. As my firm has grown, we've gotten them. I call the clients directly, hear them out. They feel important, which is what they deserve, right?
Right.
Because I'm serving them. I'm serving and privileged to serve them. But let's work to get those reviews away, or let's work to turn them around, because we don't want those 1 stars up on Google. It's just not a good look. So, and I think the key is like, don't even say, "Hey, Bruce, like, will you change your review?" No, that's not my discussion. Like, my
Yeah.
discussion is like, how do we screw up? I'm so sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pissed that we failed to meet our standards. How can we get better? I'm telling you, like, more times than not, they will on their own change it. And oftentimes during the phone call to a 5 star. It's
Yeah.
incredible what happens when people feel heard and listened to.
Right. Chris, thank you so much for joining us here. I've learned a lot today, so it's
So have I.
always a pleasure.
No, always a pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all you do for the community, Bruce. You're a rock star, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Always good to talk to you. Talk soon.
Thank you. Yes.
Bye.
The MCLE This Week podcast is a production of Massachusetts Continuing Legal Education in Boston, Massachusetts. For sponsorship opportunities, email us at podcast@mcle.org.